What's a secret y'all kept hidden from me? Braden?
I might need
feel it as a teenager. He got drunk and told me all the secrets, but maybe not.
I might need a minute to think.
Okay.
I mean,
Back to me.
Snitched on himself.
Cameron did snitch on himself.
So, like, anytime he told us not to really tell you anything, he always kind of ended up telling. He would tell us that he told you, and so.
So you and
I can't really think of anything.
Yeah. So well, I mean, and it may not be. You know, I probably have more stuff that I kept hidden from Cam than Cam had kept hidden from me. But you know, it makes me think about the whole twerking video because you and Braden and Cam were involved, and for those of you who don't know what the twerking video is. 615 Exclusive is a local rapper. He's now a podcaster, but he had rented what Cameron described was a tiny Airbnb, and he was going to shoot a video. And he said, "Can they take me?" And I said, "Yeah." And I remember all day long, Cameron texted me and said, "We're good, we're safe, we're fine." And I was like,
"We were the only white people at this party."
The only white people at this party, and. Right. Yeah. Exactly. And it was not a tiny house. It was a mansion.
We're in high school. And these are all grown ass people.
Sure.
In their bitch woodies, and we're a bunch of white
armed security on the roof. The cops.
No, I did not know that part.
We had no business.
AR-15s and everything.
Oh my gosh! And then you got.
We're a bunch of high schoolers.
So hold on. Why did y'all have to leave the party, Braden?
Oh yeah, I got way too drunk.
Right.
Had to get out. That made me. Yeah, I'm gonna blame that on Cameron.
Hold on. How you gonna blame a kid in a wheelchair on that you got drunk?
Yep. No, next thing I know, Cameron had a 2-liter bottle of vodka on his footrest there, and the rest is history.
Cameron finessed the entire bottle of peach vodka. And someone just gave it to him.
And that's what I thought was a bottle of barbecue sauce on his footrest, because I did not think his innocent son would ever drink.
No, he totally finessed someone out of an entire bottle.
Yeah, the Amsterdam, right?
Yeah,
big bottle of it.
Yeah, peach vodka.
Ain't drank it since.
Did he drink any? I mean, I know he did because
he was drinking straight from the bottle.
When I made
I was helping him drink it from the bottle.
When I took Braden's, when Noah came in and said, "Mama Kay, Braden's outside drunk," and he's trying to unload Cameron by himself, and I was like, and I went out there, I got Braden's keys, I said, "Go to the guest room, go to sleep." Noah goes, "I'm leaving," and Noah was gone. Noah
I was a DD. I did my job.
But you always stayed the night with us, so I was like, why all of a sudden is he just running? Like, why is he leaving? And Cameron rolled past me. When he did, he burped. And I went, and he went, "I just had one shot." So y'all are telling me he had more than one shot?
Oh, it was way more than one shot. Way more than
Did you jump or did you threaten to get in the pool, Braden?
No, I just threatened.
You threatened. Did you vomit?
Never.
Or did that,
yes.
You did vomit.
I'm sure I did.
And on the side of my van.
And as he was leaned up against the Airbnb's fence, that was why we got kicked out, because he was, and I'm talking, this fence was at a 45-degree angle, and security was like, y'all gotta go. And so I had to throw Braden over my shoulder and walk him out.
Wow. Yeah. That was one of the first nights that you woke up with the oatmeal cream pie and asking for your keys back. And I'm like, you had your shirt on backwards.
One of the first nights.
Yeah, one of the first nights. I know. Yeah. So there's no secrets. Well, that's good then. That's good. Yeah. That is true.
That is
like a lot of secrets. A lot of secrets. You're right about that. So if Cam could have done one thing in his life, what do you think it would have been that he didn't get to do, Braden? Please don't tell me it's to see a girl's tits.
He saw
those. Shit.
I'm talking about in person.
He did that, I'm sure. Not with me.
He said not. Sure. Okay, then let's just go straight to that. Did you ever take him to see someone's tits?
No, we never took him to the strip club.
He really wanted to.
That is the one. Yeah, I would say that probably.
Yeah.
The one thing me and him always talked about was Vegas. Yes.
Yeah, he would tell me, and I think this is something he learned from Braden. He said, "I don't want to go to Deja Vu because their strippers have C-section scars."
That's from Tayton.
Tayton.
He didn't learn that from me.
Crazy horse.
Crazy Horse was the ghetto.
Yeah,
They
he told me they had C-section scars.
That's rough.
That's rough.
Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
Crazy Horse is shut down now, I believe.
Well, probably because of C-section scars, according to Cameron. Yeah, there you go. Okay. When I got
I'd say going on some sort of trip. I just can't pick the place. It would
yeah,
have been
no, he always
probably like a cross country road trip in an RV,
he wants to
stopping
get
at all
his
kinds of
van and not
places.
take off.
Yeah.
Yep, just cross the country seeing stuff. I feel like that's something you'd love to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, yeah, I think that's probably what it would be. I meant to ask this earlier, but how long were you friends with Cam before you realized the severity of his disease, Braden?
I mean, I knew pretty quick once I befriended him, and just educated myself on what muscular dystrophy was. So
Sure.
I knew what would happen eventually.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
But it got to a point where I forgot about it.
No,
that
totally.
wasn't something that even crossed my mind anymore. Yeah.
Right. Because
Just
he was
seemed
so healthy
completely
for so
normal.
long. Yeah, and
Mhm.
aside from the wheelchair, it's just like he was just a normal dude, because he was healthy for
Like
so
someone
long.
that maybe got in a car accident. Was
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. What about you, Jay?
I mean, from the get-go, I understood that, he wouldn't live a long life like we possibly may.
Right.
But I think high school, because that's kind of when his expectancy was
Yeah.
up. So that's kind of when it really did hit home,
Right.
just because of his life expectancy. But when we got out of school, it seemed like his health was pretty solid.
Oh, yeah.
So, there was a minute there where I was like, yeah, he's doing great. But it really just came down to just gradually seeing his mobility with his phone and stuff. And that's
Right.
how I really knew it was coming, just because he couldn't really do anything.
That and the video
That, or you
games.
look at some pictures or something.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, he was way bigger back then.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
God, yeah.
Dude always joke about him being a meatball and whatnot, but then you look at pictures of him, he was big.
He was massive.
And it's like you don't really see him losing that weight when you see him a lot.
No,
But we-
totally.
You're like, whoa,
Yeah.
what happened?
Yeah.
When you see that, you're like, there really is something going on.
Big time. Yeah. Once he lost all the weight, we didn't even know about the sore on his side because there was so much skin that just covered it up. So,
Really?
yeah. So we didn't know about once we found the hole, I was like, at that point, I could probably put my fist in it. It was so big. So, and I mean, he lived with that for years.
Yeah, long time.
Years he lived with that sore.
Yeah, because it was like, I remember it was a problem, and then
Yeah.
he'd go to the doctor, and I thought he was getting it situated, and then I wouldn't
Yeah.
hear about it for a long time, and then suddenly one day he's like, oh, my sore's hurting. You still have that thing?
Yeah, because that's what he had surgery on 10 days before Lemkin got married.
Yeah.
And because we didn't know if he'd come out of that. One, we didn't know if he'd come out of that surgery alive.
Yeah.
But two, we didn't know what that recovery process looked like because he also had the G-tube placed that day too. So, have I asked you that question?
How severe?
How long did it take you to realize how severe it was?
I don't know. Like everybody, it was quick, but like for me, it would be like in different instances. Like sometimes, because like things he used to do that he wouldn't do, he would still do sometimes. Like when it came to playing video games,
Sure.
or being on his phone. But from the get, I kind of knew like once I got to know him, and that was the thing. Like I figured it out more because at first. Always, it was me and Braden that were with him. So we would be at Jim's house, his dad's, and I would sit in the back in a chair, and Braden would be next to me.
Yeah.
And I started coming over here by myself, the last 2 or 3 years regularly, and I started realizing then, like I would. And my thing is Cam didn't care that you didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? I would always be so nervous that I would hurt him.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
So like
To push his shoulder and
when
shit.
his arm would fall. He'd be like, dude, you could pick my arm up. It doesn't hurt. And like,
Right.
Something that was.
But if you're not familiar with it,
Something that was craziest to me from all the get is, I thought him being paralyzed, he couldn't feel anything.
Right.
So one day, me and him were sitting there, and I just randomly asked him. I was like, dude, if like you were to get stabbed in the leg, you wouldn't feel this, would you?
I bet he made you feel
And
so stupid.
He was like, what the fuck do you think? He was like, yes, I would feel it.
Yeah.
He's like, I just can't move. He's like, my nerves still work.
Right.
Like, there's so many things that, like, one day I came in here. And,
Were you going to try to stab him to see?
Yeah, Lord, maybe sometime.
Maybe so. Yeah.
I came in one day and Miss Kendra had just left, and I was coming in here, and Cam's head got stuck in his headrest, and
Oh, like it fell back and he couldn't raise it up.
He
Yeah.
couldn't get it up, and I thought I'd be like, he'd be freaking out. I got in here and he's just chilling. Like I got in, first thing he's like, "What's up, dude?" And he just looks at me, and I'm helping him get it out. So I thought I had to grab his head, but I had to grab his hand to put it on his handrest. And I'm grabbing his head. He said, "You dumb fuck! Didn't I tell you to put my hand on the handrest?" And I was like, "Yes, sorry, Cam." Put it on there, and then he gets up and he's good. And always like. Then I realized like he knew what to do in the situation.
He totally did. Yeah.
If I panic, it makes it worse. Even though he had terrible anxiety when it came to things, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah, you just can't panic around him.
No,
that's when his anxiety got the worst.
That's what I realized big, like at the fair when we went.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
If you stayed calm, Cam was good. You know what I mean? Because it's understandable because we can control things.
Sure.
Cameron couldn't control things.
Right.
That was something that was big for me all the time. If I get nervous or I get worked up, I can walk out and deal with it for a second. He's got to sit there and deal with that emotion the entire time.
That's exactly correct.
So it was, but yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Noah?
Honestly, I'm kind of completely different than everybody. Just because, like, I think growing up in the country, I was so, I guess the word you could say is like uncultured.
Yeah.
So that kind of thing that, like, for the longest, I was scared to act because, like, I didn't know how he would react if I asked him. And I think it might have been
because some people would be not offended, but they just may not be as comfortable as Cameron was.
Of course, I could be exaggerating it because it was so long ago.
Right.
But I feel like it was like a year or two. And then one day I randomly just asked you, I was like, "Hey, can I like ask what's wrong with him? Like,
is he just lazy?
Am I allowed to?" Because like I didn't know if that was
right.
a wrong thing to
ask.
No,
totally. Yeah.
And so then after that, you're like, "Yeah, just ask him."
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And I asked him, and he kind of explained everything, and I was kind of like, "Oh, okay." And then
it was just nothing. Yeah, it was just no big deal.
I think it was also kind of like what Jarek said, like his Sweet 16.
Yeah.
When we had a Sweet 16, y'all kind of like, this is 1 year.
Yeah.
Past what the doctor
I don't remember I don't remember the Sweet 16. I don't even remember where we lived was it here or the other house?
No, that was when we lived at the other house.
Got it.
Still going to Gold Vision.
I love how Noah said we lived at the other house. Noah lived with us basically. Yeah.
Yeah, no, a bunch of people came over, or I think y'all called it his sour 16.
I do remember that because we had all sour candy because he loved that.
And he didn't do Sweet 16s.
He did sour 16. That's exactly correct. That's it. So we talked about this as far as him asking women to see their tits. And Jay and I talked about this before, but I'm going to ask you guys, and Braden, I'll start with you again. Did Cameron ever express to you that it saddened him that he was not going to have physical relations with a woman, or he was not going to get married, or he was not going to have children? Did he ever, because he never talked about this with me, did he ever talk about it with you?
No, but how do I say this without making it sound bad?
It's okay.
He would talk about the things he would like to do. We'll put it that way. But he never talked about how it made him sad that he didn't know.
I'm so tempted to ask, but I really don't want to know. I'm not.
No, you really don't want to know.
I feel like it's going to be the same answer with all of us.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so, Jay? I mean, were they the same answer as what Braden gave?
Well, I mean, yeah, to that extent, because that's how he was. But Cameron did open up about his more personal feelings about how, he was aware that, he'd probably never be with a woman, anything like that. Because that was something of his concern.
Sure.
He knew that, he like, especially when we got older, when, like, Braden was in a relationship, I'm in a relationship, and his friends are all doing whatever with their girlfriends,
Right.
He's a grown man.
Except Noah.
Single Pringle over here.
Single Pringle.
He's a grown man. You know, so he's going to have those feelings.
Sure, absolutely.
Cameron, he was disabled, but he was just as much as a man like us, so he still had his wants and his desires, he couldn't fulfill them. So he did have heart-to-hearts to me about it. It wasn't a lot, but it was more of times when you could tell that it was heavy on his heart and he just needed to talk to somebody.
Sure.
So he did reach out to me a few times and we did talk about it, and I do feel for him because I understood where he was coming from.
Yeah, totally.
But,
yeah,
it was definitely something in his life that was hard on him.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't think people think about that when you think about someone that age who's in a wheelchair. So, what about you, Blaine? Did y'all ever have any of those conversations?
But for me, it was like if I would come in, and like I would have a problem, with the girl that I was with, or like I would, talk to Cam. Because for me, Cam was always somebody that I could come to with something, and even if he's never been through it,
Yeah.
he would know what to say or like how to talk. Or a lot of times, Cam wouldn't even speak; he would just let you talk.
Sure.
And for me, it was just
He was a
like,
good listener.
very well.
Yeah.
And a big thing that Cam always did was make me realize that, no, you don't want problems in your life per se, but
Sure.
like how, and he would straight up say, man, I wouldn't get to experience this. And the fact of, having a problem with somebody,
Yeah.
a girl, and then getting to deal with it, so
Totally. Yeah.
more so of like, he would want it, but kind of like Braden said too, just like sending music, Cam would send me pictures of a pretty girl all the time. And, oh, dude, what would I do? And I'm just like, I get it, dude, and we would talk, about different things, but
I've seen all those messages.
oh, I know.
No.
Because I got his phone and I realized we watch a show called The Rookie, and there's a girl named Melissa O'Neill, and she is beautiful. And the amount of text, I'm surprised she didn't get a restraining order against him because he stalked her on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That was his, she was his Derrick Henry for me. Like, he was obsessed with her.
And he would always, but it was the way Cam,
What were the things he would say? No, never mind. I don't want to know.
the way Cam would take it, I think he kind of knew like it would never happen in that way. So he kind of took
So
it.
why not go for it?
Not even like that, but he would kind of take it in like a joking way. You know
Got
what
it.
I mean? Like we would talk about it and be more happy about things.
Sure.
That's why like his passing for me, like it's been very sad, but at the same
Right.
time, it's like at the end of the day, I would rather him not be in pain and be struggling.
Totally.
Because none of us knew at the end of the day how much he was struggling. Even with you, you
I
saw
did,
the most of it. He wouldn't say shit to nobody. If
Yeah.
you didn't ask him, he's not going to tell you.
Right. Yeah.
And just seeing that, and that was a big thing, because being a man growing up, you turn into a young boy, then you become a teenager, and you have all these different thoughts, and I would always sit back and think, and I'd never say anything, but like he won't get to experience,
Right.
his bride walking to him, or
Right.
a first date, or and that feeling of being sweaty hands, butterflies.
Sure, yeah,
with a girl.
absolutely.
But at the same time,
Oh, no, he probably did it wrong.
knowing
He
him.
took it for you.
Yeah. True story. True story. That is right. Yeah.
We're gonna have a date with, in that.
He definitely. Yeah.
He was definitely still. It was never like a sad thing.
Sure. Yeah. Like, or a poor pitiful bee type thing.
he
So
never
yeah.
pitied me. He never wanted.
Right. So before I ask my last question, I want to ask about that day. So I think, I don't really remember the day he passed, not the day he passed, but the day he went into cardiac arrest. And I know that I texted you all, but Braden, I think you were the first one to respond to me. I just want you to go back and tell me, in that moment when you found out that Cameron had went into cardiac arrest, and I think we all probably knew this was it for him, even though we had to wait those, 3 days or 4 days. Can you remember how you felt, or what emotion was going through when you got that text and then we started the group chat about what was going on? Braden, I'll start with you on that one.
It's kind of an unexplainable feeling. It's a culmination of all the negative emotions at one time: worry, panic, sadness, and I think, and I pull out my phone to call Jarek, and before I could even press click, Jarek's fucking calling me, and we're making a plan. I hadn't talked to anybody. Like my boss, Katie starts throwing clothes in a bag for me. I start packing shit. 30 minutes later, I'm in a car,
Yeah.
headed down. And it was just a surreal, almost kind of like a fever dream, like it wasn't real,
Sure.
Because like you said, like we had gotten bad news a lot, like that had happened, but it just
For that whole
you
summer.
knew- but you knew it was different. Like
Yeah.
there was a different. It was
It
surreal.
was different. You're right. No, you are right. What about you, Jay?
So
Because
that-
you and Blaine are the only ones in town.
yeah.
Because you're in Colorado, you're in Iowa. So okay.
Well, that morning, because I was normally I wake up really early, and then if I don't go to work, I normally just go back to sleep.
Because it was Sunday, right?
Yeah, it's one of those
Sunday.
situations. I woke up that morning, probably like 5 in the morning, went to the bathroom, all was good, and then I think I woke up at like 7 or something
Yeah.
like that, and then that's when I read the text message. And quite honestly, as soon as I got done reading your text message, I already knew.
Yeah.
You can even ask Taylor because I was straight up honest with her.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want her to baby me, but oh no, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a realist.
Sure. No, totally.
I keep it 100. You know,
Yeah.
and I knew that he was gone. I don't know if he was going to pass away, but I knew that with the lack of oxygen and all that stuff, that
Exactly.
he was going to be mentally gone. So I knew he was gone. I didn't know if he was actually going to physically pass away like
Sure.
he did.
Yeah.
But I knew.
Or was that a decision we had to make?
Yeah. But
totally.
I knew that night that I had with him, the last night was the last night I ever had with him. I
I knew Sunday morning you knew that.
Yeah, I knew that as soon as I read the text message.
Yeah.
I mean, before I even said anything to her about it, because they can ask her, I said, something's wrong, really wrong.
Yeah.
She's like, what's wrong? And I kept saying, oh, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. Because I didn't even say it at first. I just kept saying, like, no, you don't understand. Like, it's actually bad, bad, bad.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. And I think I felt like we had cried wolf so many times before.
No, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, Cameron dodged death. He
Oh
dodged
my
the Grim
God.
Reaper 45
Totally.
times plus.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's another reason we were always so morbid with Cameron.
Yeah.
It's because when you're facing death, you have to have humor.
Yeah, no, because Cameron had a rough summer. I mean, you couldn't even ask my work because I had that summer. I kept texting my work like every now and then, like, "Hey, I got to leave this job. I got to go check on Cameron."
Exactly.
And it was kind of like to the point they're like, "What the fuck's going on in your life?"
Is there really a
Cameron?
Cameron? Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no, he's going through some tough times.
Yeah,
right now.
totally. Yeah.
Because I mean, it was all the time.
Yeah, that
know?
whole summer. I mean, we were in for 7 days, 10 days, 30 days, and then that final trip.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what about you, Blaine?
It didn't really, for me, it didn't, kind of like when he, but I mean, I still kick myself for this. The first time, he went into unconsciousness and stuff because of his cut, we were close, but we weren't really super close.
Sure.
Like we were still, like we hung out and stuff
Right.
one-on-one, but at that time, COVID was a big deal. So it was like, I didn't think I'd get back there to see him, and that for me, it was like, I would just get pissed off with that and be like, I know it's ignorant to say, but like, I don't really care about what's going on.
No, totally. Yeah.
But, with that, thankfully, he made it out of that. So I thought, when I saw that text, I was like, man, this is bad. But, this whole summer, things have been bad.
We've done hard things before. Yeah.
You don't know until, and then we got there and, seeing him like that, that's when I knew I was like, and I wasn't going to say, obviously, but I knew he was gone.
Yeah.
I knew that.
I think we all did. Blaine,
I knew that
honestly.
was just a body. I knew Cameron had went somewhere else.
Yeah.
And like, because for me it was, but a big thing that like that I've realized and I knew some greater power, he was able to be resuscitated at Summit, and then they were able to take him. And a life flight for somebody in his circumstances was not easy.
No,
for him to make it to Vanderbilt and be able to stay alive.
Yeah.
Because for a period of time he wasn't on life support. He was breathing on his own.
Exactly.
He was doing his own thing. I think that was him letting us know, but also at the same time, like us getting to say our goodbyes.
Sure.
Because for me getting there and seeing him like that, it sucks that was, the last memory you see him like that. But at the same time, I'm one of those people, I don't really question a lot of things happen.
Right.
Because I believe in a higher power. So I know Cameron's somewhere that we all wish we could be.
Sure. Totally.
And he's always with us in a different sense, kind of like that day. You said you
on
heard
Christmas.
Cameron, and you heard Cam say something.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it, but you heard it.
Right.
And I walked in his room when I got here, and his mom asked me, "What were you doing?" And I was just looking through George and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel Cameron in any sort of different walk of life throughout the day.
Yeah.
And just knowing, but like seeing that message, like at the same time in the back of my head, I kind of knew. But I mean, Jarek knew it before all of us. Like he just kind of said it,
Yeah.
But I wanted to keep faith and keep hope because we all have that selfish side to us where we're like, man, we still want him here, We want another kickback. We want another, Friday night of just watching football and stuff.
Yeah.
But I knew at the same time, like, it's his time.
Right.
So
yeah. And I think he was done fighting. So I get that. What about you, Noah? Especially with you being in Colorado.
Yeah, that was the hardest part because me and my dad had been at our campsite for a couple of days, and at no point in any time had we had service at all.
Yeah.
And
you spent a lot of money on this trip.
Yes. And then all of a sudden, Sunday morning, I'm getting dressed, and then I feel my phone vibrate like 50 times. And I'm reading it, and then, I couldn't even speak.
Sure.
My dad could just sense it. And You know, I felt selfish for the first few hours because
So hold on. So you had no service, and then all of a sudden,
all of a sudden I just got a bunch of random
wow.
texts about it. And first few hours, I felt selfish because I'm like, I spent a lot of money on this trip.
Sure, of course.
But me and my dad got to this field, and it was, I don't know, sunrise came over it. It was beautiful. And it just felt like I was seeing Cameron.
Yeah.
That moment, that was when I made the decision, like, okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Find a plane ticket, and then that was that.
Yeah, it's an easy decision. Yeah, I get it.
You got hit quick though.
Dude.
No, he really did. I'm not gonna lie. That was,
Yeah, that, I mean,
Braden
Braden was supposed to take like 11 hours. He got here in like 6.5 or something. I was like,
Yeah, we flew through connecting flight.
it wasn't direct.
No, and
Yeah.
it was even more
Cotton
impressive.
Dallas had
that is impressive.
to take trains in an airport.
Oh
I've
my
never been
God.
through Before, and it's like,
And you didn't even get to enjoy like that you're traveling to these different areas because all you can think about is I just need to get
whole time
home.
I just cried.
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's
So
brutal.
yeah, definitely. That is brutal. So I think about like when I met you all, I don't remember meeting Braden. I just remember Braden being there. And I'm talking about like in the beginning of your friendship.
Yeah.
I don't remember meeting you. I remember meeting Blaine, but I think that's because I hit you. Was that the first time or was it when I was
standing
drunk?
right where they are, and my feet were on the table, on the coffee table, and you smacked me in the back of the head, and we were like, we don't do that shit here. And I was like, yes, ma'am. And then you got on Braden's ass for eating all of Cameron's Cheez-Its.
Imagine that. All Braden did was eat Cameron's shit.
Cameron was like,
And then y'all would leave empty shit. I'm
I
like,
had to clean up y'all's mess after y'all left.
and I would start, that was the reason I didn't like Dumbass Logan. The first time was because he left me a whole thing of Rolo wrappers.
You fucking hate Logan.
Oh, I fucking hated
You
Logan.
fucking stink. Why are you in here?
I was like, what is that smell? He says, probably me. I said, they're going to take a fucking shower. Now he's in prison for murder, as he should be, because he killed somebody, but whatever. Anyway. But then I remember getting drunk. Cameron was not here, but Braden lived with me, and that's why you were here, right?
A lot. No, that was, I met you.
But I'm talking about the night that I got drunk and you got scared,
Oh,
and
yeah,
Braden said, this is normal.
TikTok.
Yeah, you were a little, because I was threatening to beat somebody up, and I'd had a few beers. And I looked up, and Blaine was hiding behind Braden's bedroom door, just kind of peeking out like I was going to snap on
When
him.
you get mad, you pace, like you move. You just go. And Braden's just sitting there, like he's seen this.
He's seen it a million times.
And I'm like, dog, is she good? And he's like, it'll blow over.
Yeah, as long as you don't talk, you're good. You know,
I say shit.
Someone put my name in their mouth, and I was pissed off about it. So,
quietly, and it won't be directed to you.
right, don't make direct eye contact with her. You're good. Okay, so my last question is, what is one piece of advice you would give someone who has a best friend that's terminally ill? Braden?
Man, there's a lot of advice, but it's do everything you can to help them do everything they want to do, because it's something you'll never regret. You'll always be happy you did it. It doesn't matter what it is. Just
Right.
take the time for them.
You know, we talked about Tayton earlier before I go to you, Jay, because Tayton came over and saw me a few weeks ago, and he said, I talk to my mom all the time about the regret I have of the amount of times Cameron wanted to hang out, and I was just too busy, when in reality, he could have made time.
Yeah.
And then him coming to the hospital, and I think the same thing with like Big Mike, and, you know, the people that Cam wanted to be part of the core for, and they weren't because they just weren't willing to invest the time like you four were. So, what about you, Jay? What advice would you give?
I would just say, you know, don't take your relationships for granted, you know, because I think I know I fell victim to it, just getting comfortable in your friendship,
Sure.
You know, especially when you talk every single day and you do hang out a lot.
Right.
There's going to be those days where he wants to hang out and you're like, well, I hung out with him 2-3 times last week, so I don't want to go hang out with him
Exactly.
today.
Yeah.
You know, and it's easy to get like that, especially if you are an able-bodied person, you can go do whatever the hell you want. You got multiple
Totally.
friend groups, you just do whatever the hell you want.
Right.
It's easy to do, but
I think we've all fell victim to that. Though,
yeah,
you know,
I
honestly.
think that's just natural to feel that way
Sure.
because I think it's human for people to like come up with an excuse not to go hang out with
Right.
somebody or do just because you want to do your own thing. We're all
Yeah.
individual humans, you know. But I would just say don't take your relationship for granted, you know, because one day you'll wake up and it'll be gone. You know,
Yeah.
but that's all relationships. That's relationships
Totally.
with grandparents, parents, friends.
But it
know,
helps you in having better relationships with other people
It does for
by
sure.
having a
you know.
friendship with Cameron. Yeah, totally.
Having a friendship with Cameron and then losing him, you know, losing somebody that meant that much to you.
Yeah.
It does help you keep perspective. Hey, you got to keep tabs on your loved ones, you know, because
Totally.
you know we're not forever. You know,
No,
every
you're
single
right.
one of us in here is going to be gone one day.
Yeah.
You know, and you never know when that's going to be, and that's just the reality of
Yeah.
it.
No,
you know.
totally. Totally. What about you, Blaine?
Well, the first thing that comes to me is enjoy it while it lasts. 'Cause, you
Yeah.
don't know when you're gonna get that text like we did that morning that you know could be the last time you see him in whatever state. And you know, and kind of like they said, in the fact of, you know, a lot of people when somebody passes, they think, oh, you know, time will go on, you'll forget. You know, for me, I'm gonna carry Cameron through the
Sure.
rest of my life.
Absolutely.
Every person I meet, if you get close with me, you're
Yeah.
gonna know about Cameron,
Yeah.
even if you met him or you didn't meet him.
Right. Your kids will know. Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
that at the end of the day, you know, the time you have here is, you know, a short amount of time.
Sure.
It's seems like a while, but it's not a while, you
Yeah.
know, because it feel all these memories we got, I can remember like they're yesterday.
Sure.
And
No,
it was,
yeah.
You know, and the times that we've had, you know, all of us have had one-on-one times with him, you know, it's, you know, you can't get that back.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so even the bad times we had when we were all into it or we were all having a great time, I cherish every single one of those
Right. Yeah.
because, you know, if I could go back and have Cam cuss me again, I'd do it 100 times over.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
totally.
to hear it. And it's just, you know, carrying on his memory and realizing that, you know, this person was put in your life for a certain reason.
Right.
You don't know why, but, you know, I learned a lot more from Cameron than I ever thought I would.
No.
You know,
And you may not have realized it till after he passed.
most definitely.
Yeah,
And it
sure.
was, you know, realizing, you know, the resilience and the care to every single day, knowing that you get up and you can't do what other people do.
Right.
And he had every right to sit there and why me, why this, why
Right.
that. But he didn't, you know what I mean? And he didn't want you to feel bad.
No,
He didn't
totally.
want pity.
Yeah.
And, you know, just, you know, enjoy it. Like I said, enjoying while it lasts because you don't know when it's going to be that last time you go over there. You
No,
know?
you're right.
And next time you go, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
But, you know, you got to find positivity in what it is.
Sure.
You know? And
Totally.
that was what Cam was good at. So
He was. What about you, Noah?
I don't know. I think I kind of have to piggyback on what everybody said and just find time to make time. for
Sure.
them. I mean, I've lived over an hour away for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And I spend almost every weekend.
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
He's in the hospital. I'm
Yeah.
waking up early, even though
Yeah, you're coming here to watch the dogs while he's in the hospital. Yeah,
going,
absolutely.
Going to watch Georgia games or Alabama games with them, Titans
Yeah.
games with them.
And it pains you to watch the Alabama games.
Yes,
So
it did, but it's I mean, he always made it worth it.
Sure.
You
you mean the shit talking he would do
Yes.
about Georgia?
Yeah, but I mean, it's he just made you grateful for
Yeah.
everything, and
Yeah, you're right.
you got to learn from them.
Yeah.
Instead of because I learned more from him probably than I have anybody else in my
No
well,
doubt.
besides my parents, of course.
Sure.
But when it comes to life lessons,
Yeah.
you have to learn to just take them as they come
Totally.
and just spend your time with them,
Right.
quality time with them, not just because you feel like they want to, but because you want to.
Right. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, guys, this was one of the things that Cameron really wanted was to talk to you guys. So I think that we probably would have done him proud. So I thank you guys for taking the time. Braden, thanks for hopping on here on Zoom. And who
Yes, ma'am.
this thing may just blow up, and you just never know. I'll be the next somebody
Joe
famous. Joe Rogan. I'll be the next Joe. Cameron loved Joe Rogan. So maybe His sister, not so much, but yeah. But maybe I'll be the next Joe Rogan, and y'all can say you do me win. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for just being great friends to not only my son but to me.
Of course.
Yeah. So, guys, stay tuned. Subscribe. Tuesday night, I am recording an interview with a musician turned mortician that was a customer of Cameron's. If you know, you know. And I'm very excited about that because I love anything dead. So I'm super excited about that interview. So anyway, thanks again. Bye, guys.